The following episode deals with some sensitive issues such as suicide, bereavement and paediatric sickness. If you feel you're in a vulnerable position, please listen to this in the company of a friend. Please contact or engage with the support services listed with this episode if you are affected. And please remember, it's okay not to be okay.
Tonight we have somebody that's actually, we're doing a light up the night truck run to Edenderry to Kanturk, which we did last year, and we have some guests on tonight, people actually on the front line of where the money will be going, that we will be doing our very best to raise. So
we have one person from 3 of the charities. We're doing 4 charities, and we are missing one person here tonight, but we'll update you on that.
We will hopefully do another one.
Yeah, but we have here in front of us is the duck.
The quack.
The quack. We have Matt from
Limerick Treaty,
and we have Christy from
SOSAD
Ireland.
SOSAD Ireland and SOSAD Leash.
Yeah, and SOSAD is one of the main charities we donated money to last year from last year's run.
Yeah.
And Christy might enlighten us there tonight about where that money went to and how it helped, and kind of what you need going forward as well to keep going.
How funds are badly needed and but things that they do with the money that we are again this year going to our very best to raise, and if we can at all do what we did last year, if not more.
Yeah, more. That's the aim, is to do more.
And for anyone that is watching or following, we need your help. So we do to complete this.
Yeah, beyond the trucks, isn't it?
So
trucks. It's trucks, spot prizes, donations, people turning up on the day, bucket collections. Yeah. All the merch, all the t-shirts. What's the speed with the t-shirts?
Yeah, the t-shirts are €25 each, and then we have the hoodies for 50, and they can be ordered from Jen Clegg there at David Clegg Signs and Embroidery.
And all the money for that is...
It's all donated straight to the charity.
It's not going to any in particular person.
No, we're putting it all together, and we're going to divide it up between the 4 charities, and then hopefully we do well.
Yeah. Paul has one of them t-shirts on there now. I have last year's one on me, but like anything that's made off these is all going towards the good cause, and it's going to be divided amongst these charities here in front of us.
Very good.
I actually saw those being embroidered yesterday.
Are you in, Jens?
I was in there yesterday.
I'll go away.
No way.
Imogen and
she's a superstar, isn't she?
That's how fresh Paul is. It was only on the machine yesterday. He has it on his back today. Like, he's fresher than Brennan's bread.
That's gas now.
And David's going on holidays Tuesday, so I have to get... I'm also on. I'm on too many committees. I was never as busy when I was working. The Patrick's Day Parade in Portlaoise, so I'm getting some stickers.
Where did you work?
Huh? Where did you work? I used to work in Portlaoise Prison.
But that's not work.
That's why there's big high walls. All the work we're actually doing.
That's not all it's here.
But like last year, the run was a great success. Like, and we had SOSAD was our main charity. And then
we divided last year because we raised so much money.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Don was talking to Liam Ryan from the Limerick Treaty, and he told that Don told us your story. Then we said, like, Jesus, like, that deserves it. So that's how we jumped on board and said, if we did well. We said, right, we give 20,000 then to SOSAD, and then Anton after that we said we donate to because it's amazing what you do as well. Like, it's
and that's the reason we asked you up, because we want you to give your insight to what you do and where the money's going. We want people to know, because instead of someone just putting money in a bucket, don't know where it's going, at least if they listen to this, they'll have an understanding, and we might be more inclined to throw a few pound in a bucket.
About Matt's charity, I remember you were on last year on your Snapchat about lads standing on the bridge stopping lads from jumping. I never knew that actually happened until I seen it on your story. There's an awful lot, and it's not being ignorant, it's just being people don't know. It's not out there. You know.
But I only heard about that last year. I was new to that last year as well, and it's unbelievable. And all the last 12 months I've seen what you share on Facebook every Saturday night.
And you'll be amazed, like, because we've got. I'm doing this almost 10 years. The information is still not out there.
No, just getting worse probably.
You kind of wonder why, because we're fighting to put it out there all the time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, you'd imagine it's being kind of suppressed somewhere along the line, because
there's something happening is people, the way that people get their information has changed, and it's all social media. And it all boils down to the algorithm.
Yes.
Social media doesn't put up stuff that you like.
Exactly.
It'll put up stuff that it knows you have liked in a while, and then if they can glean any information from that to get some ads that they can show you, that you might click on, they get revenue from that.
Yeah.
So
so that's where it's falling down, lads, for us.
If someone isn't clicking like and seeing your page regularly enough, it doesn't go out there.
Yeah.
And the problem is with suicide and mental health, it's unseen.
Yeah.
You can't see that somebody's suffering. You can't see how much they're suffering. It's not something tangible that you can stick on a report or a graph.
Yeah.
And it's not something that people they don't like reading about it and seeing it. It's only when it calls to your door, and then you realise how much there is and how little support is there.
But lately, it is calling to a lot of people's door. It's it's
calling to too many people's doors.
It's just so close now.
Yeah, I done a video with a lad last year, and we were talking, and we were trying to get a base, basically trying to get off the streets and give people a place to actually not be stared at when we're talking to them.
Yeah.
And same when the body is being identified, they do that in the slipway lines, and people can take pictures.
Stop.
It's just all ridiculously honest. I don't know why it's that way, but it's always been that way. But we did the video, and we were trying to get it out. Nobody wanted to put it up. We eventually threw it up on, was it YouTube, David?
Yeah.
And that got a small bit of traction. But like you said, I agree with what he's saying. People don't really, I think people are just wary of it.
Yeah.
And we kept saying in the video, lads, do we have to wait till we knock a jail door for your children before you'll actually recognise what we're trying to do here? You know, and that's exactly what it is.
Sorry, we never actually introduced David.
Sorry.
David's
I was in
doing.
the child's chair having the bell signs.
That's David.
That's David, yeah.
He's part.
Yeah, that's our chairperson. And
He's
I'm
our
the
PRO.
PRO, which is a fancy term for I post pictures on social media.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do podcasts.
Yeah, that's a great input.
Relations officer.
Yeah.
But you see,
that's an important role.
Yeah.
this role has been pushed this year, and over the last few years it wasn't.
Yeah.
Because we found it wasn't a very popular thing to be talking about it. Nobody really wants to talk. Again, going back to what he just said, they don't really want to talk about suicide rates. And it's atrocious.
Younger people are more inclined to talk about these things. The older generation doesn't want to. I can remember the first time I decided I was going public about mental health, I stood up in the church at a midnight mass for families bereaved through suicide.
Right.
And, I went up and the parish priest said, look, most people know Christy. You've seen him on the stage in the pantos and the musicals, making everybody laugh. But he's here tonight to talk about something more closely related to our subject. And I stood up and the first thing he says, look, most people know me here. If you don't, my name is Christy Bannon, born and raised in Portlaoise, married with 3 kids, and I suffer from depression. And there was an audible.
That was a huge step.
Yeah.
People couldn't believe that someone was saying it. And mass ended at I think it was around 20 to 1:45 in the morning, and I was still in the chapel yard at 2:45.
No way.
People talking, and that's in the morning, in March.
Jesus. Cold.
Yeah, but it was people who wanted to talk about things and couldn't, and they're not used to hearing somebody saying it. And I got messages from text messages and messages on Facebook and stuff from like proper hardjaws, lads who were down the pub and rare family hard lads. And I remember one lad in particular saying, look, thanks for talking about it. I never could. And I dealt with it by drinking, and then I'd get too caught up in it, and I'd go home then, and I wasn't nice to my family.
But see, that's a thing that was passed down from the generation before us. A man couldn't be seen as a weak.
Not at all.
But even after that, I can remember I picked up a grandaunt of mine down the town. I'd seen her she was a bit confused, trying to do shopping and stuff, and I said, hang on here now, I'll go get the car. And I picked her up anyway, and I sorted all the rest, brought her home, brought in the stuff, and I said, come on, you'll have a cup of tea. So I got her sitting down in here, I made the tea for sitting chatting, and whereas normally she'd never ask about that sort of thing, but on this occasion she started talking. She said, oh, I heard very good things about you talking at the novena, she says. Oh, right, says I am. And then she looked at me and said, and do you suffer with your nerves? And normally you'd be saying, well, look at it, I have, this depression or cyclothymia, and explaining what that is. And but on this occasion I said, yeah, I do. Because that's the language that they would have used. Like
Years ago.
Woman who was,
and if you were seeing, like, I know from around this area, Portlaoise was the place you were signed in. And if you were seen to be suffering with your nerves years ago, you're away with That was
She'll
it.
be hidden away. Like.
Oh, hidden away and
locked away, and that was it.
And
they
even
were
if you,
institutionalised.
but even if you went in and got your help and came back and you were grand, you were always labelled as the person that lad's not.
When I was growing up, you had people signing people in and never signing them out, lads.
Yeah.
They were there forever. They couldn't be signed back out.
Signed
again.
in because you were a bachelor. And
You might have a bit of land, they might be after us.
wanted the land because he was
That's
getting
a
married.
fact.
Yeah.
They're the facts.
Yeah, it's so wrong, wasn't it? And it's projecting into this generation, I think, a bit. But you said the younger generation now, they're more open to talk about. And I think that's because of social media in a way as well. Now, social media is a lot bad, social media is good.
It can be used for good stuff too.
Yeah.
It can indeed, you're not really
It's very, very tricky though. You have to be careful what you're doing.
Yeah, with social media with kids, like there's an awful lot. There's actually kids. I call kids, say from 10 years of up. I've heard lately of kids.
Yeah.
Frightening, 11 years of age committing suicide.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if it's down to social media.
Yeah,
Well, it's a main factor.
I don't know, but it's.
It can be down to bullying.
I heard one lately, and I actually didn't sleep that night thinking about it. Little girls at home, you know.
Last week we spent, I think it was 3 hours in the company of Jackie Fox. And Jackie Fox is a woman that's actually fighting for a thing called Coco's Law.
Yeah.
Her daughter, Coco, hung herself, lads, from the top of the stairs when the woman came in the door. Her child was hanging in a 14-year-old. It was a dog lead she used, but down for it was true, just nothing but jealousy and bullying. Started with one person and ended up with 25 people.
Yeah.
Right down to the point she said, well, her best friend was one of the people that dragged her by the hair in the disco the whole way down 2 flights of stairs.
Stop.
And she said to her mother, I began long ago only for it, the man hurt you. Listen to that woman, lads. Jesus Christ, I was in bits. And she's a tiny little woman, and she's gone into Europe with this law. She's got the law passed here. But in Ireland, they can't give it, she was telling us, a law can't have a specific name of a person.
Yeah.
But she said everything in front of the Minister for Justice, the woman, what's her, McAtee.
Yeah, Mayor
She
McAtee.
found out that McAtee was pregnant, so she brought 3 photos in, and McAtee was refusing. The law was going to be passed for bullying, that you could be arrested for it. But she said, we won't name it after your daughter. So she said everything to her woman, I knew she was pregnant. I brought in 3 photos. You know, one of her birth, the one, you know, one
Scan, yeah.
Scan. And the second one was a communion, and the third one was holding the coffin.
Fuck.
Jesus.
No, she didn't even look at the photo. She turned it up and said to Helen McAtee, you turn that. Now you tell me, she said, you're having a new baby. Is that what you want?
It's gas. You look at the charities. You have suicide, and then you have, which I want. Well, take Sudani, cystic fibrosis. You have one fighting to live, and you have another one fighting to die.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's a fine.
But that woman, if that law is passed in
Chalk and
Europe,
cheese.
like, it'll be worldwide. They now have her going to America. What you call them? Netflix wants to do a movie.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And NBC wants to do a documentary, a 3-hour documentary on the whole thing. But she has it in Europe, lads.
Yeah.
Tiny little woman.
Fair play to her.
That's some fight.
Have a look at her. She's amazing.
Very close with their duck. Years ago, I can remember cycling and suicide started. And I would have suffered with depression, but no, I didn't talk about, no, I'd be grand, you know.
Yeah.
And I used to do a bit of photography, and they were looking for a photographer, and they were on the radio saying, look, if anyone's interested in photography, come along and do it. And the missus said to me, oh, would you like to go? They're looking for photographers there. I listened to it on the radio. Cycle against suicide. No, don't go. No. But the following year, I had started to go cycling with the lads in work. And so I got on a bike and I started doing training and getting used to it, and I'd done a few of the spins around the country. And then we saw this thing coming up, you know, Cycle Against Suicide, Mourners to Follow, on the internet inside the prison, on the staff page. So we were saying, just will we go on that? And then we thought that they were going to arrange something for it. Then, no, it's just a handful of lads. So we said, we asked the governor, look, can we borrow a van? We want to go on this thing. You know, you go and you stay in other people's houses, but we don't want to go stay in, you know, because we work in the high security prison. You don't know where you're going to end up. So we went down and with a van, going up and down, and I couldn't go on the first day because I was nights and I wouldn't been out of prison till 8 o'clock in the morning, but they had to be gone at 5 to be up on RTE for whatever time. So I went the second day, and it was from Carlow to Waterford. And when I went in to meet the lads the first day, signed up, and I met a few guys I knew, and we cycled as far as Kilkenny, and we stopped there, and a lad from another jail I'd worked with in Dublin, I said to him, hey, what's going on inside at dinner time? And he said, oh, it's they're having an old talk there. And I said, what are they talking about? Old feelings and shite, he says. Come on, I'm going for a pint. I said, no, I won't go. And I just stopped and I had an ice cream and whatever else. But this guy he'd been a Marine in America and had seen action. Like in that Black Hawk Down, he was in the football stadium. He was a recon Marine. They're the fellas that got sent in first. Yeah. So like when he was talking about feelings and shite, he had a big wall up, didn't need to
stay
do
away
these things.
from it,
But I didn't go in. But that weekend, we'd go back to work for 2 days. On the Friday, we were leaving from, I think it was Killarney, and going to Tralee and then on to Newcastle West. And that morning we went down, registered, and then the talk started inside before they left the first place. And I just happened to be walking in, which is what's going on, and listened. And it was, and this is why the point is linked to it, it was Finbar Walsh, who was the father of Donald Walsh, the Live Life Foundation. And Donald was a young fella who had cancer. And he'd done his level best, he'd beaten it a few times, but he had a terminal diagnosis then and it wasn't going to get any better. And he went on the TV with your man O'Connor.
Shows well, didn't
no, it was the Saturday Night Show or something, was it? Brendan O'Connor.
Yeah.
And it was like, there were so many young people taking their lives by suicide. And like they had a life to live and they were, throwing it away. And he wanted to live and he couldn't because of cancer.
He made that point.
And it made a huge impact on people. And so he died afterwards. But his dad and his mother kept going on and going around to schools and stuff and spreading the message. And I went in and I listened to him talking and it just struck me that he was an ordinary man, just telling his story. Yeah. And I happened to cycle along with him then into Tralee, and he knew an uncle of mine, a chef down in Kerry, and he knew a few lads I worked with in the jail in Portleash. And he's just an ordinary fucking man, just going in. Sorry, I said that. You'd have to keep
curse away.
We're over 18.
But then,
I'm not happy about
the next day, it was we were going from Newcastle West to Ennis, and I went into the talk again the next day, and it was a man and a woman, and she was dying of an inoperable brain tumour. They weren't long married. There was nothing they could do, so they were going off travelling around the place and getting all these new experiences, and he'd have these photos to keep in a book forever, and she'd take the memories with her wherever she went. And it just struck me that there were ordinary people again telling their story, and I remember the little tear coming to me, and I was hiding. Jesus, anyone sees me crying over this. And I went out to get me cycling shoes back on, take off the runners into the van, and it was, we were starting to get ready to go, and the fella driving around, what are they talking about inside? He said, that's the depression and mental health stuff. Fucking depression, true. I was sure, who was that? Said, and I blurted it out. I was sure, I suffer from depression. And he goes, I picked up the cycling shoes and I ran in the lashing rain in my bare socks down to get away from it. I couldn't believe I was after saying it to somebody. And then the following day, we were going from Ennis to Tuam, and it was a guy, Bob Carley. And he tells the story about you're lovely, you're lovable, and you're loved. Look it up, you can see him on YouTube. But over those 3 days, it suddenly dawned on me that I wasn't the only one. That I'd heard, of a young fella who wanted to live and couldn't. And he was trying to get people, young people to understand, look, don't throw it all away, there's help there to get it. And it was just, once I realised that I wasn't the only one, when I came home to Eve, she says, well, how'd you get on? And I says, listen, I'm going to get help. What are you talking about? How'd you get on the cycle today? No, I'm going to get help. She said, what are you talking about? I said, look, you know the way I suffer depression, whatever else, I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to get to the doctor, I'm going to get help.
See there, you told someone, so he accepted it. You've accepted it yourself.
But what made me accept it was I realised I wasn't the only one.
That's right.
I give talks in schools and places on mental health, and I point out to kids and that, the World Health Organization figures a couple of years ago will tell you that, that every year, 1 in 4 people, and over COVID it went down to 1 in 3 people, would suffer from stress, anxiety, depression, or something like that during the year. And over the course of your lives, it's 1 out of every 2 people will go through something. Now, we don't talk about it and you're told, it's not normal. But normal is whatever the majority is doing. And so if it's 1 in 4 people every year, that's not totally fucking abnormal. Like if there's 5 million, that's 1.25 million people in Ireland every year will go through something and need help. And over the course of the year, like that's 2.5 million. If it's 5 million people, the numbers are huge. Like if you're in a room, a quarter of the room have gone through something at some stage that year, and over their lifetime, half of the people there will have gone through something. But people still don't talk about it. So you have to break it, and you have to say, look, it is normal to talk and deal with it.
What's that all saying?
But people
it's
are
okay to be okay.
People are getting better at talking about things that, like, you know what I mean?
I'm still, youngsters are so open these days.
Yeah.
They are. But they're still not open about, they should be more open.
Yeah.
They're very easy to like, you can see the Snapchats and stuff, they don't give a fuck no more, really. To be honest, when they're out and they have the pants around their ankles, they don't. Do you know, as years ago, you oh, Jesus, no, they don't give a fuck. But they're still battling up. They should fucking be able to talk.
I worked with a big man, right? A big hardy hooer, right? And you look at him and say, Jesus Christ, he's a big fucker. He's always having the crack and all this. But next thing, we're doing a job one day, and I'm not going to say too much because I don't want him to know who I'm talking about. But we're doing a job one day. Next thing, we're there. Next thing, we're just having talking normal stuff. Next thing, I see the cunt's eyes warting up. Excuse me, he wasn't a cunt, but that's it. But next thing, I see his eyes warting up. Next thing, he told me, like, I suffer fearsome depression. I got a shock because I always looked at this lad and he had a barrel of laughs. And next thing, here he is, and he breaking his heart out to me. You know what I mean? But look, I kind of didn't know what to say to him.
Yes.
Yes. But sure, I had the chat with him, and I'd be no good that way. But some people aren't, and some people are.
But see that there, you didn't know what to say to him. I think more people should be normalised. It should be normalised that you should be able to talk about it.
But I took it all on board. I'm not saying that.
And
I gave him I says, James, do you want to cheer up a bit? But like, you don't know, that chap would be going home and like, you just don't, look, he didn't, and that never came into it. He just told me he had depression, but you just don't know, like,
And that's one thing now, Matt. Do you have all your volunteers trained to have them conversations?
You can't do it unless you're trained for it. Like,
where
you're trained with assist and you're trained in mental health first aid. And there's several other things that come under
so
that
if
banner.
you join us, you get in-house training, which is our own, like, we carry throw bags and other equipment like that, and the arcs outside as well. It's basically a robotic life buoy, basically thrown to water. So it's our own in-house training.
What's a throw bag? It's a lifesaver.
So a throw bag is a bag, you just throw it from
25
25 to 50 metres, you just throw it to get someone out of the water.
Jesus
So we have you're training those, and then you're also trained in-house to how to talk to someone down from the river. We also, you do the assist course, which is applied suicide intervention skills training, offered free by the HSE. It's a 2-day course. All of our members are trained in it as well.
When Donny was talking about last year about the people, your charity, people walking the bridges, making sure there's no one jumping in. Myself and the wife and kids were down in Wexford on holiday.
They're in Wexford.
Yeah, and next thing I know, myself and the brother, I have a brother, a guard, and long story short, he was down there with us. And we went down to town for a few pints, and we're walking back down over the bridge. Next thing, I was saying to him, what's the story of these lads standing on the bridge? And next thing he says, they're there to prevent suicide. And I couldn't understand. Next day I was talking to your man, but like, he was telling me, like, they actually, there's people that go on there, on average, there could be 2, there might be no one this weekend, there could be 3 next weekend, there could be no one for a month.
Doing the same work that you do.
Very same. We met him. I met Claddagh. I was up there 3 weeks ago with Claddagh in Galway. Fabulous bunch of people.
How many people on average would you have to save every weekend?
Every weekend? Oh, no. I know the year average is 200 to 250. That's called intervention. So that's going from the very level where someone's just depressing at the river to the very extreme of someone in the water. So that's 200 to 250 a year. And that's just Limerick City.
Mad, like,
not Limerick County.
Can I ask something? How many people say that they didn't mean to do it when you get them out of war?
I've never met anyone that said that to me.
They all meant to do it.
They all meant to do it, and they didn't want to come out of the water. Like,
go away.
Jesus, no. I've lost 2 little friends, young women that grew up in where I live, to suicide. I saw them on the dead on the slipways. But they don't want to come out, lads. The majority of them don't. I know people say, when you hit the water, you're shouting, get me out, I'm sorry. No, that doesn't happen.
No.
It's not happened with me in 10 years, I can assure you. And the majority of people we meet are young lads. They're
made the decision.
Scary.
We were talking the other day, you were saying a 12-year-old kid, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What
12
he said,
years of age.
Yeah,
Like,
12 hanging.
like, what have they seen? Like, they have nothing in their life.
You wonder yourself. There's no answer.
You know,
for that.
They don't know what bad times or things are.
They don't. But
I know
a
you
lot of
pick
it,
up the phone, too, but
bullying is awful.
I'll tell you one thing though. I remember when I was training as a prison officer, one of the lads was given the training. He said one day, he said, lads, you have to understand, you're going in here now, some of you are only 18, 19, some of you are well into your 20s, have a bit of a job, a bit of experience in the world. He says, you could go in here and you could meet a chap who's, 18 years old. He's lived 4 times the lifetime you have. He could have, you don't know what horrors he grew up with, or what he's seen, how many people he's seen shot, injured. He could have taken somebody's life. He could have a couple of kids. He could be in his late 20s, early 30s, and his kids could be starting to have kids. So, you don't understand
no one knows
else's
what
going through.
other people have seen, done,
just think
or
that,
heard.
if you look at everybody with just the thought in your head that I don't know what they're going through.
yeah.
You don't know the story.
You could say, oh, look at fucking them, and that's all that's wrong with them, and that, like, it's how you can cope with that.
Yeah.
Some people can cope with a huge amount, other people can't.
Yeah.
And but the people who can cope with an awful lot, it can be just the smallest thing that puts them over the edge.
Yeah, trigger them.
They talk about firemen, guards, prison officers, nurses, and it's called vicarious stress. So
And you'd have a lot of that.
you build it, so it builds up, and you've seen stuff, and you'll remember stuff, and it could be years after it happened. You hear something or you smell something, and it brings it back,
Reminds you of
and
it,
then
yeah.
it's all of a sudden it's too much.
We had a fire officer recently, 2 years ago. He was a swiftwater trained officer, right? He'd jump into the river no matter what was going on, he'd go over the bridges straight in.
Yeah.
But he decided he'd had enough.
Fuck.
So he threw himself into the river, but what he did was he weighted himself down.
Rock.
Because I think his automatic impulse would have been to save himself.
Yeah.
So he put dumbbells in his jumper, dumbbells on his trousers.
Yeah.
This man, previously he'd seen a car crash and there were 2 young girls, he couldn't get them to bond.
Oh no.
Right? And his daughter was telling us at the funeral, she said, my father just couldn't cope with that. That was way beyond what he'd seen.
Yeah.
For 27 years he was a fireman, he was swift walker.
All the lies he said.
He was sent
couldn't
out to
save
the
us,
car. Yeah, but he made, when they found him, he didn't float away, he just stayed where he jumped. I saw him bringing him up. That they used nearly a hoist to get him out of the water with the weight that was on him.
Stop.
I had a friend who tied himself to a motorbike and drove in.
What? Jesus
Yeah, he was
Christ.
saved a week before he jumped in, so he didn't. He said, well, you know what? I have an old hand in 90. Loved the fucking hand in 90. So he strapped himself everywhere he could and drove straight into the channel.
So it'd be harder to get him up.
Well, they couldn't get him up. Jesus, not
But like that, we could meet a person one night. We'll see him back then. What? The next night? Next night again.
And is there a process when you...
we meet the same people every night.
If we intervene in someone's life and we convince them to step away from the bridge, we ask them, do you want guards or ambulance? So the guards will take you into the room or they'll bring you straight to the hospital.
It's horrible.
So they go to you're going out to UHL. You're waiting.
You have to revolve
How many
every
hours? So you just had a major crisis. You're waiting out there in the waiting room, like that, and then you're there. You get a referral then for a doctor.
Yeah, but
I've
it's
seen that happen to a friend of mine
a
one
6 hour
time.
wait in a cell, though, lads. You have to remember that.
That's not the place for a fella to
Well,
start
no,
trying to take his
no,
own
if you
life.
take somebody,
Is that
The
is that
guards
the
are
thing?
called.
So is it a cell where they go next in? Is it?
well, they'll be in a cell for 6 hours waiting for an ambulance.
Oh Jesus!
So what happens then is that they're getting worse.
Yeah.
So by the time the guards and by the ambulance will come in, and 9 times out of 10, the ambulance will take you after the 6 hours. You'll do your 4-hour stint outside in the region, you're back with us.
Oh my God!
We
Shouldn't it
handed a young girl over 2 years ago to the guards. The problem was we didn't take the numbers of the guards, we just handed them over. Because we weren't asked or told to keep any documentation. We weren't, a government-run group, we were just volunteers, so we weren't keeping paperwork. It's only the last couple of years we've been in college to do that now.
Yeah.
Do you get any government funded?
No, it's not.
But this is why...
No, the public are brilliant.
Look,
But we handed
This is
over.
why we doing it, because
I know that.
they're voluntary,
But we
Yeah,
handed over that young woman at 11 o'clock. This woman worked from Novus in Limerick house, for people who are homeless. Her name was Natalie. And at 11 o'clock we handed her over. At 2 o'clock she was dead. They didn't even call the ambulance, they just left her out.
And the
Came
guard
back
says...
when we were gone, because we were gone at 12. And at 2 she was dead. Our chairman at the time had a nervous breakdown because he handed her over.
Isn't it so
He
sad?
still
that
hasn't gotten over that breakdown. I'm not missing. I meet the man
Jeez.
nearly too lately.
Isn't
He's
it?
convinced it was his fault.
And tell me, did the council give you money when you said
No, the council
government?
don't even talk to us.
No,
Isn't that shocking? Isn't it?
we are solely funded by the people of Limerick City.
You're
We
joking,
were
man.
invited.
I'm not lying to you yet.
No, but we got an invite from Paddy Tobin into.
Yeah.
He invited us up because he's got a brother now who's in Cladda, in Galway.
Yeah.
And he stood up in the door and he said, lads, there's a group in Limerick that don't have a place to work for. What kind of a society are we in? He said, well, there's people working for free, taking on all kinds of horrors, and you won't give them a room to bring the vulnerable people that they're meeting in.
When they bring the people to Limerick Hospital or wherever
Well,
hospital,
they're thrown back out.
yeah, but is there people there to?
No.
Is there
Well, there's a crisis.
psychologists
There's a
or
crisis
whatever?
there.
There's a crisis nurse. And
Yeah.
if you get past, from what we're told,
Yeah.
if you get, you can quote me on this is what we've been told. If you get past the crisis nurse, you're fine. But if you don't, if you don't,
Well,
if you don't fit the criteria, whatever that criteria is, you don't get in.
But what is a crisis nurse?
It's a person that assesses you to see you're vulnerable enough.
Is she a normal nurse, like?
Well, they're a mental health
Mental
nurse.
health.
Yeah.
So she's sitting there waiting for these
Well,
people to come
they're
in.
sitting there kind of in judgment of who should go in and should. And then you see you have a problem. You probably had the dual diagnosis system.
Yeah.
Whereby if you're on heroin, you're an addict. If you're on drink, you're not. So the dual
And both of
diagnosis
them are
has to be
drugs.
scrapped. Like.
But if you turn up after a suicide attempt and you're drunk, if you
You're
get a
not-
load of
you're
drinking
not
and you try and
getting-
do something,
you're not getting
you'll
in.
be diagnosed as you're drunk,
Pain in the
dry
ass.
off, and then off you
You're
go.
not- no way.
And a referral to go and
Referral,
to
yeah.
get for the HSC services.
There are
but there's a
covered then.
waiting list to get anything.
It's phenomenally bad, lads.
Chronic.
And it's not getting better. Which is
No.
a frightening part. Like, I mean, as I said, I'm going on this thing 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, and it's getting not better.
Well, that's the.
It's maybe gotten better for the amount of people that come down to us and the amount that stop jumping in. But we're still meeting the same amount of people and talking them from going in anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous.
But that's the mental end of it, right? And
Yeah.
on my end of it, say, my little one has cystic fibrosis,
Okay.
as you know,
Yeah,
as
my
my
niece
son.
has
And
as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
I know.
to be fair, there's a friend of myself and the lads there that's involved in the trucks, Paddy Graham, and last year for the truck show, he was asked. I asked him, do you know the way to would the show give a few pound to a charity if I pick something? And next thing he says, yeah, and blah blah blah. Long story short, they ended up giving money to the parents' accommodation in Crumlin Hospital.
It was a great idea.
Right? And that when my little girl was diagnosed, she had a blocked bowel, so she was sent straight to Crumlin for the operation or whatever. And but long story short, Paddy always said to me last year when we were organising the truck show, he says, when you're giving money to charity, he says, I'd rather see it go to actually someone where it actually helps. Do you know what I mean? Where the money goes on the ground and not to pay people's wages.
Exactly.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And to be fair to him, it's stuck in my head.
But sure, it's not a charity if it's going to pay people.
Right.
It can't be a charity.
So next thing, Donny was on about this truck run, and he's my best friend, and he'd be saying to me, look, I'd like to help your charity, the Cystic Fibrosis charity.
Brilliant.
And next thing we were thinking about, and my wife was on to me about doing something for the ward in Limerick. So you have every couple of weeks, Chloe goes down into the University Hospital in Limerick, down to the Cystic Fibrosis unit below, and there's 2 nurses down there. Well, there's more than 2 nurses, but I'm sorry to all the nurses down there. The ones anytime I met, I know is Noel and Claire, and then she has Dr. Barry and Dr. Darrell, and like everything that comes out of Chloe's mouth when she comes back out with it, Dr. Barry, and next thing, the big dirty face from the buttons, the buttons from Noel or Claire, you know. But like
that's wonderful.
Yeah,
That's
but like
wonderful. That's what you think should be like that.
But say when Chloe gets sick, she gets real sick sometimes. You know what I mean? But the medication has come on an awful lot. But if she had to go in and if she had to go in to get the IV drip, you know, for the strong antibiotics, like you're looked after. They're just brilliant down there. But I see it on the news. University Hospital Limerick say the A&E and all the queues. Like I know it's 2 different ends of it, and there is queues in all the hospitals. But like our experience of the cystic fibrosis unit is unbelievable.
100%.
And when Donny, we wanted to give something to the ward, and when Donny came up with it, I actually had a tear in my eye when he said it. You know, and it's going to help them. Like cystic fibrosis, it's how would you put it? Years ago, the life expectancy was very, very short. But now with the medication, it's
prolonging it.
It's prolonging it.
It's expanded the life.
My little one is like a little terrier. She'd be gone, you know. She's 21. She's a gas ticket. You'd never think she had a take.
Thank God.
And I've actually never. My wife looks into it. She watched. I can't think of the film. 6 Feet Apart. And all this. I've never watched something like that. I don't Google it, right? Because
it's upsetting for some people.
Yeah, I can't. I wouldn't be any good
looking at. Yeah.
I let her look after the end of it. Yeah, I come home every day and have the cracker. And I know
see the child.
it is. But I'm actually terrible. Mary would be a great person here to talk about CF because she knows every single detail about it. You know, but like I don't read into it. I have a normal child at home.
Exactly.
And she just needs the medication. And she's up and down now with it. But I just want to say, while I'm here, thanks very much to Ollie.
Yeah, they're amazing.
You're after making my wife a very happy woman to give something back to the ward.
That's amazing. That's fantastic.
Well, that's once the money's going to, like, we know, and that's what we want everyone that's listening to know. That's exactly where it's going, into them nurses that look after your daughter and to look after all the children down there.
Exactly. The money's trying to get the money to the ground. And not to the CAO.
And exactly,
As you said,
and the same with
wages.
Not
to pay wages.
I don't think charity should be.
There's no one around.
Do you care a few pound over?
No.
I wish I was on some of the money.
Some charities you do need wages because people have to run it and spend all day.
Oh yeah, without doubt,
running an office.
I have a friend
like our counsellors. So for free.
Yeah.
The only employees we have is like there's one general manager, and then there's I think it might be 18 employees in total, and the most of them are part time. Yeah. But they run like Shirley's part time, running the whole office, coordinate the whole thing, doing all the paperwork, and because to get government funding, you have to comply with
the hoops, jump through the hoops. You were showing me there earlier.
Like, wait the heck is now this is. And I spoke about this in Leinster House last week, last Tuesday, that when we got the SOSAD to come and open a place in Portlaoise, that was because Pied House wouldn't come to Portlaoise. And some friends of mine had gone to them and said, look, will you come to Portlaoise? And said, no, look, we don't open one within such a region. There's too many close by. And if you want to help, you have to go to Mullingar, Dublin or Roscrea.
That's shit to me now. If you need help, you should be able to get it.
And Mullingar and Dublin, they're full. Portlaoise is the fastest growing town in the country for the last maybe 3, definitely 2 censuses. But the services aren't growing to meet it. So someone approached me because they'd met actually Padre Tobin in Navan. They had needed to move office. The place that they were renting was being sold or something, and they needed a new office or a bigger office or something because they'd expand. And he was looking into trying to help them get a place and push, talk to the council or whatever else. And this girl asked them, said, look, would you ever think about going to other places? We're trying to expand everywhere. People need help. Would you come to Portlaoise or Laois? So they came down, and I got a call, look, do you know people? Can we get a committee going? We got people going, and we got a committee going. We ran a fundraiser, and they said, look, people are interested. They want to help. We'll open.
Yeah.
So the place was open, and maybe a year later or a bit less, the girl who was running the office, the first girl who set it up, said, look, we have to go up and meet. We have to go up to the hospital meeting. Will you come up with me? I said, certainly, yeah. And we met the head of all psychiatric services in Laois and Offaly. We met the guys over outpatients in Laois and in Offaly, and the guy over the psychiatric unit in the hospital in Portlaoise, plus a lot of their doctors and nurses and stuff. They wanted to know all the different services we provide, how we're funded, and your referral method. And it's so sad. You can turn up at the door of any of the 7 offices and say, hey, I need help. And it's like, okay, come in.
I see that on their Facebook to share that. We're open. Call down.
Come down. There's a 24-hour phone number.
That little message they put on Facebook could be the message someone needs.
But the thing is, because we don't take a letter from whatever doctor it is, there's no paper trail. But those doctors, like the GPs in Portlaoise and Laois and everything else, and the guys in the hospital, and the psychiatrists in the mental health services in Laois and Offaly, they're referring people to SOSAD. They're saying, look, here's a crowd, we can only give you tablets. You need to get counsel and stuff, really. Here's a number, go and talk to them.
Yeah.
So whenever we do the intake interview, they call it, they'll go down through all the stuff and, talk to you about what's going on, and they find the right counsellor for you. But part of it is, how did you hear about us, or who gave you the number, or whatever else. And an awful lot of times now, it's, the doctors told me, or I was up in the psychiatric unit, I went in there, and this.
So a government body.
So the HSC
is
are sending people to us.
Just something they won't fund.
We're good enough.
Well, you've no funding whatsoever either.
Well, I'll get to this now. We're good enough for them to send clients to us for counselling that they can provide.
Yeah.
But we're not good enough for them to give us funding.
Jesus.
Now, they are funding Pieta House, who get 2.5 million from the HSC roughly, I think, every year. And they get, 4.5 million from the Darkness into Light, and they get so many other million for everything else. They looked for an extra 3.5 million last year in September. I looked it up there in the newspaper.
What did they give you on? Pieta House, would they help you
Said,
out?
No.
Oh no.
But we are now getting people referred to us from Pieta, because Pieta will give you, I think it's 20 weeks.
Just if you'd work for me for nothing, they'd give you a job as well.
16 to 20
and
week
after
wait.
that,
Jesus.
After that, no, you have to go somewhere else. Like we don't know. People are now in, like, I know up in Kells. I was talking to the guy who runs the office in Kells, and he said, "We're actually." He says, "I've had a couple of people coming in and saying, who sent you to us?" And Pieta told me to come down to you.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And so people
Goes to show them.
charities that are getting money from the HSC
And not doing the
will
job.
send people to us, and we get nothing. But the HSC are saying, "Oh, look at well, we went up begging for interim funding to keep us going." We had a messaging service.
Yeah, you got hit with a big blow.
Yeah.
That was last week, was it?
Like, that's like, some people aren't able to talk about it, but they'll sit in their text. It can be easier to text. Because when you hear yourself saying something, it's really fucking real.
Yeah.
But you can be texting and build up the confidence to go and do it.
I'm the very same. If I was having a row with wife at home, I text her. Sorry about that, babe. What did I do wrong? Next thing she sent me a text. But if I asked her, nothing. But that's the truth. It's easy. I'm trying to say it's easier to write it.
People will say text in.
Yeah.
And that used to run from 8 till 12, But we just don't have the money to keep it going.
And that's what.
And is that stopping? Is that service stopping?
4,000 a week or 4,000 a month?
It's gone.
Is
Jesus.
it gone? We have to stop that, yeah.
That's
Spend the money.
disgrace.
It costs 56,000 a month to run the entire charity. That's 7 offices. I can give you the numbers because I actually printed it off before I come over.
£6,000 a month.
For 7
So
offices.
in the year, right? This was up until last week. So in the previous 12 months, they had given 22,224 counselling sessions to 1,904 different individuals from 28 different counties and 150 different nationalities.
150 nationalities.
Yeah. People in the country, because there's people from all over the place in Ireland.
Yeah.
And you don't, just because, what's your passport? No, we don't give you.
No, but do you have people translating, or they speak good English?
They have, most people would have English and stuff, but there are SOSAD pages in other languages, translated Latvian and other Polish stuff, so people can log on and see the stuff there.
Yeah, it's
and
just,
you can use.
It's so sad,
it's a true
they
story.
should be backed by government.
Yeah.
It's just because they're not Irish doesn't mean they don't get depressed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
Yeah.
the pressure
The average
doesn't know
number
anybody.
that's
This is
428
ridiculous.
hours of counselling a week. Average hours.
Incredible amount.
But-
I know I was talking to Shirley, who you know, and I think last week in Portlaoise we had 121 or else 111 hours of counselling, and that's
phenomenal.
And that's all voluntary.
That's all of the counsellors give their time free.
Yeah. It's like, lads, that's why we are doing that money.
Can I ask you a question? To know that your charity is so sad, right?
Yeah.
Is most of the people coming to addicts are the normal Joe Soaps that don't actually have an addiction?
It's absolutely.
Or is it just
everybody?
is it an even board across?
Is there
I tell
actually
you,
one?
Is there 50%?
Mental health issues and suicide, they don't give a shite how much money you have,
Yeah.
how well to do your job is, where you come from, who belong to you or who you know. It can darken anyone's door.
I know that 100%.
And so it's like people who have unfortunately, people with addiction issues are often masking the pain from something
100%.
else.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the problem with the Mental Health Act, as you were saying, that the dual diagnosis. You can't be coming in looking for help. You're drunk, but you're suicidal. Well, look, we can treat the drunk. Okay, there's water and 2 paracetamol. You'll be sober in the morning.
Yeah,
and
you'll be taking
there's a
different.
letter you can go away
They
on
throw
a
you
waiting
on a
list
Librium
for,
program.
you know, and that doesn't treat because the alcoholism. The drug addiction, the self-mutilation, cutting and things like that. They're all symptoms of a mental health issue.
Yeah.
100%.
But don't treat this. I don't know why, giving medication for things, that's treating symptoms.
It doesn't solve the problem.
You're not treating the problem.
Yeah.
If you don't treat the issue that's causing the symptoms, you're never going to cure it.
Yeah.
And that's why, like when I give talks in schools, I'd always say to the kids, look, you have to treat your health holistically. It's your physical health and your mental health, and they both work together. And because I was in Cycle Against Suicide and maybe going to places, I used to say to them, look, your health is like a bike. The back wheel, that's your physical health. You put your foot down on the pedal and you push hard. Metal pedal, metal crank, chain wheel, metal chain goes back, hits the cogs at the back, and all that force you're putting in turns that cog at the back. Now, the weak link then is the spokes and the wheel. So you're putting all that power through, and if you put a lot of power and a spoke is a bit loose, the pressure isn't balanced out, one can snap, and then your wheel can buckle, and if you're pushing hard or whatever else, you're bouncing up on it, your wheel can collapse. Now, if you collapse, the back wheel collapses on you, or you get a puncture or something like that, or a blowout, you're going to maybe skid, fall down, sore arse. That's your physical health. Your mental health is the front wheel. You can be going along, you can hit a pothole or wherever else and break a spoke. You'll often see fellas that might take a spoke over front wheel or wrap it around another one and it'll stay going. There'll be a bit of a buckle in the wheel. And look, you'll get to where you're going. But you might go a bit slower because you're a bit wobbly. But the problem is, if you're going fast down a hill and you have a weak front wheel and all of a sudden that wheel buckles up and falls you, you're going straight down head first. And the crash is catastrophic. So, because you can see your physical health, like if you saw a lad with a broken leg walking around the road, and this leg is flopping underneath him, and he's trying to stand up on it, you'd grab him and say, what are you doing? Jesus Christ, lay down, hold that out straight, get an ambulance, put that man in a cast, x-ray him, give him something to keep the swelling down. Now, stick pins in or whatever else, set the bone right. Now, once that cast comes off, you're not fixed yet. You have to start doing physiotherapy now and build up the muscles slowly and get used to doing all these things. But just because you can't see somebody who has having a
mental health issue
or a breakdown,
you
should still treat it. Like I always say, like the anti-inflammatories. That's the counselling and stuff, or that's the tablets. That's the antidepressants and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have to take them forever. No. And people will be, you shouldn't be taking all them. But like the people who are generally tell you don't want to be taking those things, they're the lads that's popping, paracetamol and solpadines after a few pints or whatever else. But like the medication is the anti-inflammatories that are going to bring down the swelling so that you can actually treat the muscle that's damaged or fix the bone or whatever else is there. And it's you have to get yourself into a situation where that you're not in that breakdown. You're not on the side of the river about to go in. You're not with the tablets, you're not standing at a rope. When you get back from the precipice, then you can start to talk about the problem and try and deal with that. And deal with the issue that's causing it. Instead of just always treating the symptom. That's not going to work. You have to look at the cause. Medication, and what the HSC do, again, and I go to them. When I go in and I get reviewed every 6 months. But like after I got hurt in work that time, I was suicidal. I had PTSD and I was going through all this thing, what if I did this and I didn't do that, whatever else. And you're going back through all this stuff and it's just 24/7 and not sleeping and being in intense physical pain as well, because I had disc damage to my neck and my back and muscle torn in my arm, I had nerve damage here in the hand. And, I was going back every 4 weeks. And then to stretch that out to every 6 weeks. But I was telling them, look, it's not working. The antidepressants aren't working. I'm still, it's constant here. The thoughts are getting stronger. So I'm not going to do anything about it. I can know that they'll pass, but it's getting worse. And then, the head person changed in Portlaoise. I went in and all of a sudden I was told, well, how are you getting on? Yeah, well, look at John, it's not great, whatever else. Yeah, anyway, look at your medication's too high, we're cutting that and come back in 6 months. And I says, what do you mean come back in 6 months? Yeah, your medication's too high. He says, sure, it's not too high. I'm on whatever, 20 milligrams. And he says, oh yeah, well, you should. I said, no, it's not beyond the maximum dose. Like, that's where you might be getting side effects, but I'm not getting any side effects. But I'm telling you, I'm worse. Well, sure, it's not going to work well. You're on Lyrica and Tramadol. So a painkiller for the nerve pain and one for the actual physical pain where I was damaged. I said, so what? I can be less suicidal, but in chronic physical pain, or being not as much pain, but absolutely on my mind and trying to take my life. Surely there's a balance here.
Yeah.
I said, I'm the patient. I need to be fucking heard here. And I kind of caught hold of the desk. I mean, knuckles are gone white. And he kind of sat back and, what you want? Tell me about. So I started talking to him. And next thing he looked at his watch. Anyway, look at, come back in 6 months, we're cutting now. Well, I had to take every ounce of my strength not to rip him into pieces there and then. Because if I had gone at him, I would have killed him. I'd be doing life now. And I just walked out, and normally I'd pass myself with the girl and say, listen, thanks, go on. Straight out, and outside I got into the car, and I picked up the phone, I rang herself, and I burst into tears. And she said, look, I want you to go and get a second opinion. But it was getting lost in translation. She meant for me to, look, I want you to go and get counselling. You can't be just going in and getting tablets. You have to be able to talk about what's going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
But of course, she said second opinion. And I rang my doctor and told her what was going on. And she said, that's a fucking disgrace. Look, leave it with me. I'll get the right person for you. And I got an appointment then to go up to John of God's. And I was kind of, oh, Jesus. And I heard that because I used to always hear prisoners talking about, where were you? I was out in Eaters or John of God's and stuff. And I thought, look, I'll go anyway. So the letter arrived. And I was, you've been referred to Dr. Keane Dennehan. If you're going to take the appointment, it's €300 up front. And if not, let us know. Blah, blah. So I rang them up and says, how are you doing this? And I got the letter about the appointment, but there's no payment details. How do I pay you? And she said, what? I said, the letter says I won't have the appointment to pay up front. She says, oh no. She says, do you really want the appointment? I said, yeah. So then, look, don't worry about it. She says, so many people would go and get the doctors to refer them onto this crowd and have an appointment. Then they don't turn up. And then that's that hour that doctor had for somebody who needs it is gone because someone didn't bother.
Gone to waste, yeah.
So, but I went into him. It was a Thursday morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, and she came up with me as well. And he'd read whatever the doctor had sent, and he asked me a few questions. But within 10 minutes, he was asking all of the right questions. And he told me, look, there's definitely attention deficit disorder there, which is basically it's ADHD without the physical. It's your mind is hyperactive, be flying around the place. And I used to always be. I remember I'd go on the beer there just because I wanted my mind to stop and slow down. But he knew straight away, and he wrote back to the GP when I got a copy of all the letters, and he said, I reckon that there was ASD, so autism spectrum disorder. Yeah. They don't give you, very autistic, whereas it's all ASD, it's all on the spectrum. Yeah. So I'm autistic, and that's why, I could block out the huge amount of pain and stuff, physical pain, but it's damaging your body and it's getting in your mind and stuff.
And driving you mad.
Guy, so and he said to me straight out, he said, look, there's no point in you coming up and down here paying privately and trying to claim it back and everything else. It'd be fierce expensive. He says, you have your insurance from work. Come in for a week and get a proper diagnosis. See, I'm lucky. I had our own medical insurance in the prison that we have ourselves, the Medical Aid Society. Yeah. So I was covered to be able to go in there for a week, see psychiatrists, psychologists, the different nurses, and for them to have social workers talking to me. And it wasn't like a social worker who, helping kids or whatever else. They were dealing with the social element of it, ringing my mother to see what it was like as a kid, ringing the wife to see what it was like at home before and after the assault and everything.
Really thorough.
Proper. And so he said to me, and it was only after a year after I'd been in there, was the first time I'd seen him face to face again because of COVID. And he said, look, have you any questions? So I went down through a lot of stuff and I said, look, here's what I've been noticing. And so, am I autistic? And he said, yeah, you are, and you always have been. From when you were young in school and being put sitting on your own because you could read at a standard at an adult standard when I was 7. These were different things. But I had always thought everyone else was like me. And it's only after I waited, I think it was maybe 2 years for counselling with the HSC in Portlaoise. No, it was probably a bit more. It was probably about 3 years. But eventually when I got into this guy, he was saying, look, you were in for whatever else. Tell me what's the story. And so I told him, well, I don't really have what I originally was diagnosed with cyclothymia, like a milder version of bipolar. Instead of being manic for a couple of weeks and then depressed for 6 months, I could be up high for a day or two and then down for a few days.
Yeah.
And it was just this up and down the whole time. And it's not the high or the low that kills you, it's the sudden changes that happen to me. But when I went into him, he taught me to realise that I think completely different to what you might call normal or neurotypical. And, and it's not for me to have to, everyone else should understand how I am. Like I'm in the minority, and so I need to understand how I fit into everyone else's world. Like I think differently. Someone asks me for help in sorting out something, I said, well, here's what you have to do. And they're like, yeah, but why? And I'm like, no, this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
But it's because I've thought through every single thing and all of the little options, because the head is going constantly. Yeah. But there's loads of other people who have all different things. And like, the government isn't given the support they need, just because it's like you have kids with cystic fibrosis. So you want them to get a few quid to sort out stuff. And the government says, well, you have to give them some money, but there's another thing over here. But there's huge amounts of waste in the government and spending, and it's all
we all know that.
Admin on top of admin, on top of more admin. Yeah. And that's what costs a fortune. SOSAD runs its charity for, I think it's roughly 56,000 a month, runs the entire charity. Well, I was up in Leinster House the other day, and one of them asked, look, how much do you need? Like, it's going to take you 4 or 5 months to comply with all of the stuff that the HSC wants you to do to qualify for Section 39 funding.
But
we don't have the time.
If you keep getting Pieta sending over people to get help off you, that funding will need to be bigger. Like, you'll need more time and more manpower.
Right. But see, what they're going to do is get an SLA, they call it, a service level agreement. Yeah. So we would provide so many hours of counselling. And, so they'd say, well, to provide that, you're going to need X amount. But we'd still have to be fundraising to pay for all the rest of it. But we're not paying wages and stuff. It's the electricity and the light and the heat and the rent.
That's what you want, all the basic stuff. It was even the likes of toiletries for the facilities like that. Or like that's what that money went to.
A couple of biscuits and a cup of tea, because when someone comes in the door and they're like, I need help. Oh, come in, sit down.
Yeah. You have to pay for that.
Have you a committee over your charity?
Yeah. Have you?
Yeah.
What does your charity cost to run a month?
She gave us the figures the other day. Jesus Christ, it depends on what we're buying. The more people,
but an average over a year.
Over a year, she said we spent last year well over 100 grand.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Because last year we had a massive expense because we just bought the van.
The van was our biggest expense.
Yeah. Oh, incredible.
I mean, the van outside.
The van outside, so we bought the van and then we completely redid it on the inside.
Yeah, but the year van was gone how the money we raised last year.
All the sponsors backing outside that like that.
Was it?
But without your help, we wouldn't have got the van done, lads. I mean, the people that don't...
What have you...
We don't need a lot because people think we jump in the river every night. We're not allowed in the water.
No.
Because if we go in the
water... Are you able
to
swim?
You can't swim.
If we go in the water and we get somebody out, say we extract somebody
but they could put you in as well.
The fire brigade will come in and have a hop off us to get them out in the first place.
Yeah.
Jesus, we're here, what do you have to do?
Well, if someone jumped in and were trying to kill themselves, they could pull you under.
Well, you see, this is an own insurance won't come. But
they might never mean to do it, but panic.
I think there's more to it than that. I see it like that everybody in Limerick has a different job.
Yeah.
Also to stop them going in, and then there's another group that stops them, goes in and gets them out.
Yeah. And then there's someone.
Then you have two groups, so you have on any given night. My problem is you have 6 boats tied up every night, lads. We're out 8 shifts a week.
You've 6 boats?
We haven't.
Is it 7 nights a week you're out?
We're out every night of the week.
Will you go away?
Well, not us.
Oh, it's not just weekends?
No, it's 7 nights a week.
The river's covered 7 nights a week.
The river doesn't go away.
Yeah, but here's the problem.
I understand that, yeah, but...
I keep saying in Limerick, you have all of those boats that were bought by public funding tied up. and they're only used when you need them. When I need you, I'll phone and say, well, like, you have 3 minutes, there's a woman in the water, keep floating down the channel. So you have to come and get them.
Yeah.
Now the 3 minutes window is fine, but we've had a fella on a rope, Lee Reeves the boxer. He was hanging on a rope for 27 minutes, lads. He was dragged away while he was going to mum by the hair.
Jesus.
That's not 3 minutes, that's 27 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Waiting.
So that's the problem. So my answer to that was simple. When we're out, like in Wexford, that they accompany us with one of the bloody boats that the public paid for, and they're tied bloody well up. So I said to Jermaine, hold on a minute, pal. I'd rather be looking at you than looking for you.
Yeah.
That 3 minute window you're wasting, you could drag a person out while you're there. What are you bloody well doing? I said, why don't you walk with us?
Yeah.
If you don't want to, no, I said we're going to get a boat, and I caused terrible controversy in Limerick because I said we're getting our own boat and we'll do it ourselves. We won't call you.
Yeah.
Watch this with wash out.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't do that. You won't be left to do that. And they're
there
all
has to be
fighting with
joined
each
up
other.
thinking.
Yeah.
100%.
That's what you need.
I
But
said,
not
can we
only
have
between
meetings
there.
every month? Can we have bi-monthly meetings whereby we all sit down
But the
and have an old
the
chat
it's not working
about what
together.
we can do to make it better, not for us,
Yeah.
for the person that's going to go in the river.
As I always say, common sense is very lacked in
Well,
this
you see,
country.
all of them have their own agenda. I'm sorry, lads, but that's a fact. And most people in life, they have their own agendas anyway. And that's the way it's happening at the moment. But the agenda needs to change. Like I said, the Mayor of Limerick, the new guy, we need to bring these people together. And you have to make them do it.
Yeah.
Say, lads, okay, whoever's getting funded, if you're not at that table, you're out.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, it's about vulnerable people. It's not about me and Matty Collins and what we do. It's about how we try to help the vulnerable person. It has nothing to do with money. We approached a charity when we started. And the first thing I was about when we sat down, I put my hand over there and said, lads, we're going to try and have a good agreement with each other and we'll work well together. They said, but you're going to affect our funding. What do you mean? I said, you're going to take funding from us. It's going to be moved away from us. And I said, Jesus, so what? Like, you're here for money, I'm not. You know, I'm trying to give back. I'm older. I realise I've been in the snake pit, as they call it. I've had 5 years of depression. I know what it's like. And I wanted to give back. And I understood from the person that was depressed how it felt. So I said, well, if I know how it felt, maybe I can talk to the person a bit better than somebody that read it in a textbook.
Lived experience.
Yes, so that's why I done it. But they wouldn't have it. To this day, lads, they don't talk to us. They don't like it. Well, we ran the charity. We were only starting. We did not have the right to collect money, lads. But we got $5,000 anyway. And I offered them the $5,000. I said, there's $5,000 there, lads, you can have it. COVID came in, they wouldn't take it, they got embarrassed. We gave the money to PPE gear for the regional hospital and an extra $2,500 to feed people who were on the streets that we meet. When we started
So you gave your money to the...
We gave it away. We didn't want it. We didn't want it. I don't want no fucking money, lads. Excuse me for cussing. I'm not here for money at all. Money helps to create a space and stuff that people need.
And it helps the volunteers.
For the first 3 years, lads, I was putting my own money into the van. I was paying my own insurance. I was paying, everything was our own. You know, we weren't asking.
It's a sad truth, you can't do it without money these days.
Charity. We didn't even look for that. Will you? These said, lads, I'll get you charity. I was happy when we weren't.
Yeah.
Because I was there for the right reasons, and the people joining were there for the right reasons.
Because if once you're a registered charity, then you have to comply with the Charities Act.
It's a pain in the ass.
And it's paperwork. And
you know, somebody else is gaining out of your charity. We're certainly not. No. But my take on everything is, wherever we get money, I don't want money in the bank, lads. I want to know, you do an old thing and you find out what you need for the year, that's fine. Leave it aside, keep that much, that's fine. But the rest goes on what the people are giving you the bloody money for. We know charities in Limerick that work 3.5 million, lads, that do what we do. They won't say hello to you.
Jeez.
They're a different level to us.
And what would make your life better now for doing what you do?
The van is after, for me, my dream when I started was that van.
Was it?
It's my dream. I suppose it's one of them. I have several dreams, like, but I'm getting a bit older. The one that happened fairly late. So that's why I'm a pain in the ass.
It's not working anymore.
When you're getting older, lads, you're aware of time, and well, if I want something to happen, I'm going to fucking bite the ankles off and keep making it.
And I take it you obviously have gear as well.
We have gear.
So we have our PFDs, which is personal place waste. This is fancy word for life jacket.
It's about 500 quid to gear you out for the knife.
Yeah.
Give you equipment. You have a PFD, you have a throw bag.
PFD throw bags, torches, defibs, medical supplies.
Yeah,
and stuff like that. But the van was amazing because when we're on the river, the first thing that happens when people see us, the phone straight out. And they record the person who's in distress.
It's awful.
I mean, I've like told people, look at it, fuck off, put the phone away. I feel like I'm up with a big tablet and also record me or something.
Yeah, they do that.
A vulnerable person.
Really?
Oh, it's straight. The sooner pick up the phone and record, they call someone.
So what happens is
they'd film you rather than help you.
yeah, but now they have this novel idea the mayor has of putting in buddy seats. I dread them, lads. I really do. I saw them in London and they don't bloody work.
Sit down and sit down. Someone
You
won't
sit
talk
down,
to you.
they're a different colour, and it depends on how high your depression is, or how low it is.
Yeah.
It's high from red and it goes down to blue. But people are passing. So you just sit down there. We're all going to start running over to you because we think you've got a problem. It's going to cause nothing but confusion.
Hey, I'm locked. I'm on the way home.
But I mean, you could be sitting down.
I want to eat curly chips.
After being jogging for a half hour, take a break here, and happen to sit in the blue seat. They say, "Oh, geez, this fella's bad." We're all running.
But now, thanks to the
That's
van,
not
we're
gonna be
able
good
to
at-
bring someone into
The
the van.
van gives a vulnerable person back their dignity.
We'll go out and get a look at the van now after this.
But you have to have your dignity, like.
But it also holds our arc inside there, which is our emergency equipment. So someone's in the water.
The arc is
It's a
amazing.
robot that kind of.
And tell
flies
me,
out.
do you have actually people that would actually see the van and actually just come?
Oh, yeah.
There would be no river, no bank. You would actually just at least
they
see
come
the
to
van.
We have people that come to the
Would he
van
just
all
actually
the
just come up? Would you
Jesus, yeah.
would you reckon the van is a great thing that
time.
way?
Oh, it's amazing.
Someone would be
Well, I
maybe
can take you
going
in
for
and
the
maybe come-
river, see the van, didn't actually.
Yeah,
hey,
but the van
I go and have a
offers you
chat.
one thing, it offers you no sell. For me, if I can take you in and you're calm enough and you're fine and you're not psychotic and you know yourself, it could be anything. But if I can get you into that van, I can offer you a chance to call your family or I can call your friend and not a guard, lads.
And
The guards are now weighing in as well.
And you're
They have a
avoiding
new- they have a
you're
new-
avoiding the system. Then
You are, but you have a new group of guards now that have to start in Limerick. It's the first of its kind in the country. I don't know what's the name
It's
of
called
it.
CASP program.
CASP.
CASP. So they're basically
Three guards
a program,
trained
yeah,
out.
where the guards will come down and they're with a mental health nurse.
Right.
And basically, then you've been involved in the CASP program where you get sessions with the guards and a mental health nurse.
Yeah, but we were there last
It's
night.
been tried in
We
Limerick
couldn't
at
get
the
'em.
moment.
We couldn't get them.
We were late last night. We were waiting an hour and a half for the guards.
And when he phoned back the guards, Joanne said, slow down, because he was panicking. This woman was in a bad way, like.
Bad way.
And she was beating her head off a steering wheel because she got back into her car, pounding her head off.
And I thought, where are you?
And he was saying, where are you? And your one gave him a hard time.
Yeah.
Slow down.
where?
He said, I can't slow down. We're here, way beyond what we walk. Waiting for you. Where are you?
And that woman
She
was
goes,
just sitting in
they're
her
around
car.
the corner. Because we got to the one
She's
there.
in Cork, lads.
Yeah.
Huh?
She's in Cork. We're talking to a woman in Cork about Limerick.
In the
And then you
911.
have to tell her the codes and where people live to get you. It's the height. You couldn't make it up, like.
Yeah.
And she was saying to him, slow down and don't be cheeky, be giving me a hard time.
Yeah, that's the centralised
It's all gone to Cork.
system.
If you
Like if
ring-
you're in Portlaoise, if you ring, it goes through to Dublin.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Say you ring in Limerick tomorrow night, say we're down the river and I ring 112,
Yeah.
which they're telling us to ring, right? That'll straight away go to the fire services, who have a boat in the river as well.
Yeah.
So what happened last week was the chairperson of the Limerick Search and Rescue got on to me and had to hop off me because I was using 112 and they weren't getting called out with the fire service.
Oh.
So if that keeps going, he said, Matt, you're going to put us out of business. He was blaming me. These numbers are everywhere. 112, dial 112.
Yeah.
So now we've gone back just to appease both teams, the fire services both, and the other lads were dialing 999.
Shocking.
And we're not supposed to, but you're trying to appease them. They're killing each other to save a life.
Jeez.
Politics and saving lives.
This
It's
is madness,
costing lives, like.
This doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, but when you talk to them, then they say, this fella's a fucking lunatic.
I'm baffled here. Like.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. But you see where they all need to talk?
Yeah.
It needs to be joined up.
Somebody
thinking.
needs to come along
Yeah.
and say, right, lads, a couple of heads bang together. It's not about money, it's about
And
people.
tell me, when it came to voting time, did the TDs come to approach you or anything? Or?
We went up to the Dáil about, Paddy Tobin invited us up to the Dáil last year about the base. We went up, fair play to him, he's a meat man, and he took a meat man to get the Limerick crew up there. So we arrived up, everybody is prepped before you get in, as far as I knew, and they come into this auditorium and if they want to listen to what you have to say, but they're all prepared, they're all told, every TD is given that opportunity. No one turned up.
What?
No
we
one
had
turned up.
31 people up there with us. No one came in the room.
No way.
All of the Limerick
That's so
TDs
disrespect.
and whoever was up there, all the lads we know, only used us for a photo op outside the Dáil.
Fuck. Stop.
You are
No, I was
kidding
outside
me.
the Dáil. I should have been arrested for the names I was calling them lads. I'm being honest with you. I was very discourteous to them. And I did. Michael Lowry, I never met the man in my life. Muppet.
I have to disagree with
Listen,
you there.
I think he's a Muppet. He
I
asked
think
me
he's an
questions.
absolute gentleman.
Well, he might be to you, it wasn't to me. The point is, all I'm saying to you is he called me aside and he said to me, can I talk to you on your own? I said, you can. I don't believe that's going on at all, and that much people are actually killing themselves. Otherwise, to be wonder, to be more known.
Scandalous.
That's why he thought you
I
were
believe that.
That's Michael Lowry for you.
Michael Lowry.
And I asked Pat O'Toole, and I said, Pat, what's that man's name? I didn't even know the man. Never met him in my life. And I said, sorry, sir, I don't know your name. But it is that bad. It's been that bad. It's kind of getting a bit better. I was trying to explain to him.
I've met Michael Lowry
I can't
once.
believe it.
But I've so many people talk about where I live, and every one of them he's helped.
I'm not saying he wouldn't help you.
He's helped
No,
everyone.
Yeah, but what I will say is this.
That's what they're voted into.
Oh, no, I understand
But
that.
you see,
Like,
you
yeah,
have to look at this.
Well,
no,
we
no,
agree to disagree on Michael Lowry.
Michael Lowry will help a person
Of course he
whether
would.
they had a penny in their pocket or 2 million.
I'm not disputing that.
And he'd do
He
the same.
didn't
He
know
put the
his
same
facts.
effort in.
No.
I don't know the man. I'm not fighting.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
You know
Hey, Doug,
Sound.
will you ring Michael Lowry and see if he pick up that mic off the floor if you're going to stand on it?
Here's the point I'm making.
What's it gone down?
Down on the ground.
No, but if a person in long in the Dáil, as long as in the Dáil as Michael Lowry,
Yeah.
here's the point I'm trying to make. I'm not
Yeah, I know
The
that,
point
Jeff.
is,
he could be the nicest man in the world, I don't know.
Yeah.
the parish pump politics.
He didn't have an idea of what was going on. So how were we supposed to get help in the Dáil? It's just one man. I'm only just disputing. I'm only saying that he had no idea what we were talking about. And he's a Tipperary man, I think, is he?
He is a Tipperary man.
Right,
Yeah.
now
I'm a Kilkenny man. I just
Yeah.
have that to say.
No.
I'm a fierce man. If I see someone doing good,
Oh,
and
Jesus,
I
you've
see it
shouted
on the
out.
ground, I'd always have to stand in and fight his corner because I know I'd be down the local pub, and you have every type of society. You have every a person from every kind of society, and
And he'd help
in the
them all.
locality, even in Kilkenny, North Kilkenny now, devoted is there, and I know that he does his best for every single person that if you go to him, he'll
But
try
if you
help.
listen, if you listen for a second,
Yeah.
That's not the question.
he's not doing anything for
He's
suicide
in
watch
the
in
news all
Limerick.
last week,
Yeah,
lads,
yeah.
about doing that. And then
He did do
But
it.
he's a Tipperary. It's Willie O'Dea's down in Limerick.
But
Willie
no,
O'Dea's
but
like
the
him.
issue is
Willie
joined up
brilliant too.
thinking. All right? A TD only doing stuff for his own area and then saying something, I don't think it's that bad, is it?
Well, he wasn't aware of it.
That's the thing.
He's
They
from
need to be
Tipperary,
aware.
I'll give him that.
I went up to Leinster House last Tuesday.
I was flabbergasted by it.
And Brian Stanley was there from Laois. There's 2 other Laois TDs. They weren't there. They were in Leinster House because I was upstairs looking down from the gallery after it, and they were both in there for
They were all there
And they
away
wouldn't
with
come out and
their-
talk to you.
Nobody came down
one
for
of
it.
them lives only about 200-300 metres from the office.
Michael Lowry was actually walking in the gate at the Dáil, and some of the lads said, call him there. Actually, it was had it to be the man that invited us up, said, call him, lads, he's from your neck of the woods, he might give you,
Well, like-
he's a lot of pull.
When I
And
was
he
there,
called me,
it
he
was,
asked me that question.
it was organised by a
He
Sinn Féin
wasn't doubting
TD.
it, he just
Yeah.
didn't know nothing about it.
There was Sinn Féin
Do you know what I'm
TDs, there was
saying to you?
Labour, there was Fianna Fáil, there was a couple of ministers and junior ministers. Roger O'Gorman, the Green Party, former Children's Minister, he was in the front row. And they all came up and asked, and they're all saying, and like straight away, they've all been asking questions. But like, it's what people are saying should be done. And then the minister says, oh, we're going to do this. And then, oh, we're disappointed the HSC took the time to do it or whatever else. And now the story has changed to from, we'll make sure you get some supplementary funding to keep you going. We can't afford for you to close until we get you to the river. And now it's like, oh, no, everybody has to comply with the rules and they have to know where the
Too
money's
many
being spent.
rules.
Isn't like, there's no money being wasted. Like, there's a handful of employees. Over half of them are part-time and they're running the offices. They're the ones that are in there doing all the filing work. They're the ones that are printing the stuff out and recording everything. They're the ones that are, coordinating with the client who's going to come in and with the counsellor and make sure everything's up. And that all takes work. Somebody has to do it. But the state isn't doing it. Like if the doctors have no problem in calling you in 2 minutes, here you're on how much you bring, give the same, there you are, now come back in 6 months. But that's not fixing anything.
No.
Yeah.
But you have a system in Ireland at the moment, right? You have a pulse system. The pulse system. That gives you a fair idea every year of how many suicides there are through the pulse system. But they don't ask us. We're not on the pulse system.
Yeah.
None of them. No.
Yeah.
Only last year, Limerick Search and Rescue were put on the pulse system and on that radio system. I can't think what they call it. Tetra, that's it. And I was saying, let's go, you're a voluntary group, why aren't we all on it? Wouldn't it make more sense if we were all in contact with each other?
Exactly.
We
Yeah.
need it, like, to contact
Money.
a helicopter. We
Because-
spent 11 hours last time looking for that young fella. He's still missing. I was shocked. He's actually up here. That
The price.
up here, his photos. He went missing in Limerick. We didn't find him yet. And it was nice to see that his photos here.
Who's that now? That's
It's
You
New
for the
Prices.
prices.
He's
I
gone
don't know where
missing.
he went. Jeez, I can't find him. But we couldn't talk to the helicopter. They were overhead us and they were shouting. Do you understand? Like, we were doing the ground work, like trying to find this poor
No
lady.
connection, no.
We had
But
we were shouting up to them. So they were
the
so low,
reason
we were
is-
shouting at them.
the reason
No,
is
Tetra
money.
system, we're not on it.
That it's, we see, Tetra isn't owned by the government.
No, but who owns it?
Tetra's a private company, and their radios, old radios were, just ordinary.
Walkie-talkie.
Yeah,
Two-way radios.
Yeah, we
But
had
the
them.
Tetra is, they all connect into a GSM network.
So you
So
can
like,
talk to
and you have to have a license, and they're in groups. So like, we would hire them, for Cycle Against Suicide, used to hire them, or get they might be sponsored, and you'd have so many of them. But as soon as you got into the north, you had to switch them off and go back to the old radio because the license only allowed you to work in the south.
yeah.
But like in the prison, there would be you might have a group that's just for the trades officers, and then there's a channel that you're talking to control, and then there might be one for the supervisors. They'd be talking to each other, but depends on what's allowed on your radio. You can tap in a number, but like you could actually have a SIM in them, and you can make a phone call from them as well because they connect. So like you could be on an escort in a van in Dublin, or in a hospital, or in a court with a prisoner. And you need to say, oh, look, I'm going to contact control, come in, look, this fellow has to go wherever, or we have to go, will you tell the detail we're going to this house? And you can, so it's not like a little radio where you can only go so far.
Yeah.
They'll talk to all the countries. So the guards have them, the army have them, the civil defence have them. But they all cost money. And let's say the civil defence get 20 of them. They're not going to say, well, here, you take one of those.
No.
Because then we don't have it when we need. Whereas it's joined up thinking again. That if they just said, well, hang on.
If there was one. Yeah,
Yeah, but the civil defence are funded, aren't they?
Yeah.
Jeez,
They get their money from the county councils.
Yeah.
They have a truck for everything.
Yeah.
Last year, Limerick Search and Rescue phoned me, and the fella said to me, Matty, there was a couple of lads here that were giving you a donation, a couple of electric bikes. Liam Ryan will tell you this.
Yeah.
I don't know who was it. It wasn't yourself. It was Ryan's Transport,
Yeah.
and it was all down to the young lad that died.
The DRL run, yeah. Oh, yeah.
DRL, yeah. So they came in. They gave. I think the bikes were 14 grand for two of them, 7 grand each. Liam arrives in and gives us two, but they offered them to Search and Rescue. And Search and Rescue phoned me. They said, Matty, we don't want them.
Jesus.
So we told them give them to ye, and any money that they have, give it to ye. They have too much money.
Too much money.
They have too much money, lads. They bought two new Jeeps, fully kitted out at 88 grand each, and they're only out in Paddy's Day. I swear to you, lads, they're out in Paddy's Day. You won't ever see them again.
And like, boys, it's
No, hey, I ain't gonna through the whole lot here now. We could talk here all night,
that's the
and
trouble.
there's stories.
It's 9:05. I have to find a way out here.
I'm gonna go to you, Duck. Out the money we were going to raise, what
Basically,
is
it's
it going to
just-
benefit in your charity?
Basically, the money is going to go to the CF unit below Limerick, and any child with CF that's going through the unit. Well, look, it's actually not. It's going to a charity that puts money into the CF unit, right?
Yeah.
And basically, it's going, if it makes anything to make life more comfortable for the kids that are going in and out of it.
Yeah.
That's all we want.
Yeah.
It's not, hey, look, it's not. It's basically just to try. If it buys ties for them, what difference? Let it off.
Makes life easier for the
Makes life
kids
easier for the kids.
and the
That's
family
what it-
going in.
Yeah.
Long story short, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And we'll just be wrapping up. I want to thank you for picking the charity, and especially Don. You've
Yeah.
my best bud. And as we finish up, I just want to thank the nurses and all the staff down at the CF unit and all the CF Ireland and everyone. Just thank them all, and if we can do a little bit to help you, that's all.
A little bit goes a long way.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
Matt,
it's absolutely fantastic.
Matty, what?
Well, anything that we can help.
A brief just description of
Well,
where the money's going to go, and what he's going to use it on next.
Well,
What
it's going
do
to be
you need?
used on basic equipment to equip people when they come out with us.
Yeah.
You know, especially visitors. Now we've got a lot of visitors, and you'll be happy to know half of them are nurses from the regional hospital from all those units. They're all on placement with us. So
Yeah.
we don't have enough gear to go around, lads. You know, we have enough because
Just
we've 50 people ourselves, and they all take their gear home. So when the newbies come in, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So we have to replenish that. And
More
keep
gear,
stuff
more
busy.
equipment, more facilities.
More equipment, and as
basics.
much as we can get done
Yeah.
for people that really need our help. Like this man.
Sure,
said,
look at-
if it puts a smile on people's faces and helps people out, that's
Yeah.
what you're there for.
Hey.
Make it better.
Even if it saves one life.
If you got,
Or to
if,
save
one
one
life.
life, that's a guarantee.
now you have it. There's no, you can't put a price on a
No.
life. At the end of the day, that's it.
That's exactly it.
Christy?
Well, like we're struggling to keep the doors open. To pay the rent, the electricity, the phones. You know, you have to be able to. You need somewhere to provide the counselling that people aren't getting.
Yeah.
We're not paying counsellors to come in and do it. We're not paying executives and company cars or nothing. We have a handful of employees that are running something from a very small amount of money, 56,000 a month.
Yeah.
I showed you the figures of 22,000 hours counselling, for a year. But it's saving people's
Countless
lives.
lives. Countless.
It's not about we have bereavement services now. If anyone dies of suicide, we can have somebody come out and
Help
talk
them
to
after.
families.
It's too
No,
late.
it's better to, as I said before,
Avoid it.
treat
Prevent it.
fucking cause, not the symptoms. Suicide prevention through early intervention. If people were able, if there was a SOSAD in every county,
Every major town.
and somebody in Limerick or Kilkenny or Waterford or Dublin, where the big rivers, wherever there's a big river, there's always suicides in it.
Always.
And if people could only see, look, there's help there available, just walk up to the door. Come on with me.
Confidential.
Come up to the door, come in and
Fully-
talk. And it's always confidential. Like, I would get phone calls from people because people know my number, they pass it out.
Yeah.
It could be in the middle of the night or I get a text message or something and I'll ring up. And
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
always tell the person, listen, whatever you say to me is completely confidential. The only time I'll break it is if I think there's a risk to your life, or, I'll ring to get help or whatever,
Yeah.
or if you're committing a crime, or if there's a risk to any child.
Yeah.
And they're, and that's across the board with any charity. But any money that's coming into SOSAD, it's going to providing the services. It's keeping the doors open.
Yeah.
It's having the paper for the counsellors to write down the notes and be able to record it so they can work with people.
Even down your one told me the bottles of water to give a person coming in.
Yeah,
Things like that, that's all going to help.
Tea bags that when they come in, look, sit down there, have a cup of tea, warm them up or whatever else, and so that they can feel relaxed that they can talk.
Yeah.
It's not expensive accounts and company cars, lads.
Yeah. No, we hope to raise a huge amount of money this year again.
Can I just say, lads, as well, thanks to you. Because
I
I can't believe people this far up the country are actually thinking about us down in Limerick.
Well, this man here made the connection.
It's incredible. Like.
Last year I never knew about it. Yeah, I never knew about it.
I was stunned because the lads came along handing me a check. They were gone. They were like invisible men. Like. Was he joking?
Don doesn't hang around.
I
Don
can say
doesn't-
one thing. There's fucking nothing invisible about that.
You can say that and get away.
That's a case of the cat calling the dog hero. But no, lad, seriously, like SOSAD is a charity nationally. It has 7 offices around the country. But speaking from SOSAD Laois, and who I volunteer with, and it's where we have people coming from or ringing or getting online counselling from lots of other counties all around the Midlands. People need help everywhere. And if there was, as we said, joined up thinking, but if people would remember the charities in their own locality, and if
Like
there's
shop
another
local.
group, if there's another group like SOSAD, or there's another crowd, like the Limerick Treaty Suicide Watch, who are providing it in your area.
Yeah.
Support the people in your area.
Shop local.
Because
You work in a small group.
when you need
That's the
the
way
help,
to do it,
it's
shop
the people
local.
in your locality who are going to help you.
Can I just add before we finish, lads? We also have a 24-hour helpline.
That's you can send me that number and we'll
Yeah,
put
yeah,
all
that's
that in the
on the
description.
phones as well.
And the 12th of April, we're going to be heading from Edenderry down to Kanturk. We'll be over in Tracy's. We hope to see you there, Christy.
I will be there.
And we'll be going down through Limerick and that.
Oh, we'll see
So
us, we'll
any
be there.
support we can get, the GoFundMe link will be in the description.
But last year was breathtaking, wasn't it?
Oh, it was
Last
amazing.
year was breathtaking.
It was
The amount of
amazing.
people out
I'd like to
waving
drive
and
down with you if I could.
But I just want to.
van.
I always wanted to say this, like Matt Cooper. Do you want to have the last word?
Poor David.
SOSAD has if you're going to have the last word, I may get in now. Like, that you have a number, and, SOSAD 1-800-909-909. But, like, even if you don't need help now, find out what people are in your area.
Yeah. What are your friends?
What phone number you can contact, or what services are there. Because, and I do say it, and every time I go to schools, I'm giving a talk in Portlaoise CBS now at first week in April. And I do always point out to the young fellas, learn the phone numbers, learn who's in your area. Because, you might need it, but one day
and you can
one of your family or one of your friends might need
pick
something.
up the phone.
But recently, the schools, we're doing schools like yourself, we go down to our schools as well. But we were in a school and we sponsored them. We got a few bob, so we gave it to them to get gear for the kids. They didn't have no football gear for the kids. And we said, well, look, we got 400 quid, you can have it. Get gear from.
Put your name on the front of the
So
jersey.
a month passed, they said they'd ask us to take a picture with the gear on and stuff. We bring the van over. But the head teacher rang me and he said, look, mate, he said, there's a bit of a problem with the gear. I said, what is it? We can't put the word suicide on it.
Because the
school won't allow it.
Well, I
wouldn't,
because you could have young kids in that school.
I kind of said, my kind of wish is that as people get a bit older, they're taught about looking after themselves in schools. Not when they're kids, obviously, but when they're getting 12, 11, 12. Because people are hanging themselves at 12, lads.
Yeah.
And the kids that are left behind. We've had 11 suicides where I live.
Yeah.
A whole family wiped out 1 week. 7 people died where I live. A whole family.
What?
Brothers, sisters, all gone.
In a week?
I'm not kidding, lads. They got famous on TV on the Late Late Show with the priest. What was his name at the time? You brought him up to Dublin. Well, the name of the Roaches, right? Tommy was on the Late Late Show with Father Joe Young. And Tommy told me, he said, Matty, when I was on the Late Late Show, Sinead O'Connor phoned him from Hollywood, right? And she said, I'm going to fly out, I need to talk to you. So Tommy flew out to California, and she gave him a beachfront property to keep it. He sold it for 2.something million. And he started a company called Jeff after the two main brothers, Alan and Jeffrey. When they died in the 1 week, and the whole family were gone, all the brothers and sisters died. Right? And he started a company called Jeff. And the only time the company closed down was when people expected to be paid. And by the time they got paid, he couldn't get an appointment there himself. Because they were all paid. So it went to the ground. So my thing is, when the children are getting a bit older, teach them about mental health, lads.
Normalise it.
Because they're all
Make it okay that everybody can
where's
talk
Alan
about
gone? Where's Jeffrey gone? Are they coming back?
But have it as a thing, it's not a thing to be ashamed of talking about, because normalise it. Have it as like,
if you're not
like the LGBT group as well.
Well, if you're not going to face facts and put the word suicide, nobody's going to know what it means.
Suicide has always been there. Mental health issues, LGBT, everything. That's always been there.
It's never
wasn't
changed.
spoken about.
Yes.
Give the last word, quick.
Last word.
If you want to join Limerick Treaty Suicide Prevention, we're always looking for volunteers. You don't have to be a psychiatric nurse. Be a regular Joe Stuff off the street. So find us on Facebook, Instagram, or our website.
Yeah, we'll have all the
We'll share it on our page. And
May I say one last thing? I will tell you why. Because it was mentioned about, the assist course and mental health first aid training, mental health first aid Ireland and stuff. If you see a course in your locality, anywhere,
take it,
do it. You'll never know when you're going.
First aid or anything,
First aid,
Jesus, yes.
about anything, mental health first aid, or even the safe pass, a safe talk.
just saying that we safe pass.
Safe talk or the assist. Do them.
Yeah.
Do them. And
we push on that.
And because, you could have fellas who are working in haulage and stuff, going through all sorts of hassle. Who's going to know better to understand the problems that they have than other fellas? And if a fella knows, well, listen, this guy's not great. Well,
pull him up.
Donald, the lads, they've done that course. Hang on, put you in contact.
We'll tell them to bring on their lorry down to Kanturk.
Yes.
And we'll have the crack.
We'll chat you down there. We'll cheer you up.
We'll chat you up down there.
Lads, thanks very much for coming up here.
Please appreciate it. These are all gentlemen.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Hey,
and thanks for all the support you've given.
Looking forward to it.
very much.
My first podcast, the cowboy was mad to get me on. I'm here.
And it's a serious one.
Yeah. So usually we don't normally be having the crack. We'll be back again.
Thank you, lads.
Thanks a million, boys.
But if you ever want that, you come back again. Always there.
Thanks, man.